So hi, thank you everybody for joining today, and thanks Subhashini for for volunteering for the session. So we are going to cover up the community setup and social login. So over to you, Subhashini, and I have set up the call for recording. And anybody who has questions can raise their questions post Subhashini session. Yeah, go ahead, Subhashini.
Yeah. So, hi everybody, and thank you for joining this session today. So, today we will first discuss what a community, Salesforce community is, and then what are the prerequisites we need to do in order to set up a community, and then we will have a quick hands-on on how to set up community, and then brand it according to the company for which we are building it, and then enable social login so that any external user who wants to log into the community using their Instagram, Facebook, or Google account, they can just uh, log in there, and then those social login acts as the external identity provider for our Salesforce community. Okay, so before we begin, let me introduce myself to you. So my name is Bhashini and I work for UST Global Malaysia as Enterprise Solutions Specialist. So I also lead the WIT's Trailblazer Group in Cyberjaya, and I have been nominated as one of the Lightning Champions in 2020. I'm Salesforce certified application architect, and other than these professional details, I'm an avid traveler. So I have been to few countries in Southeast Asia and some of the countries in Europe. So that's pretty much about me. So usually thank you is the last slide of any session, but I'm very grateful to Vinay as well as all the participants who took out time from their weekend and actually joined this session. So thank you everybody. So what is a community? So can anybody tell in briefly tell me what a community is? Anybody can speak. Okay, so community is basically a space where actually the company, the partners, the customers actually they share information or collaborate with each other for various business processes. So the community that we actually go through every day is our Salesforce Success community, which actually is a place where Salesforce, all all the partners as well as the developers, admins, actually they collaborate with each other, right? They ask questions, then they upvote, downvote ideas, right? So this is basically a community which is a cluster of people which are involved for for the purpose of a similar kind of business. Okay, so so basically, it is a branded space that connects customer, employees, and partners who share and collaborate in a business process. So, like in a layman term, how I can explain is if you see this picture, if like any community is built on a Salesforce org, right? So basically, it acts as a window through which the the community users, can actually access the data in this, which is stored in our Salesforce org, depending upon what access they have been given or what settings has been enabled for them. Okay, so in one Salesforce org, many communities can coexist independent of each other. So now let's discuss about different licenses for communities, and it is very important to decide the right license for the right business. I mean, it is very important to first, evaluate the business use cases and then determine which will be the best fit. I mean, which license will fit into this business use case, right? So there are basically three types of community license. The first one is community cloud. So this supports like customer portal or any peer-to-peer forum, which can be as big as 1,000 users or could be bigger. I mean, big community having around 1 million or millions of users. Okay, so some of the use cases where you can use community cloud licenses, Let's say you have a bank portal where users can actually report lost of any card, and then they can get their card deactivated. Or let's say there is a support site where actually customers can go and raise a case, right? Or there is a help site where customers can go search help articles and then all knowledge articles to help themselves, right? The second type of license is Community Cloud Plus, which goes a step above the previous license that we discussed, which is Community Cloud. So in this license, using this license, you can give a B2C experience to the users, okay, business to customer use cases. So in this, the users can actually access to reports, dashboards, and it can be used anywhere where actually sales is not directly involved to the customers. Okay. Then the third type of community license is partner community, and this is the highest license tier. Okay. So it can be used for various B2B commerce uses. So for example, this can be used for partner relationship management for reseller. So suppose currently we have Flipkart, right? And then Flipkart has many resellers. So if there is such use case, you can actually go for partner community license, where actually Flipkart can manage all its resellers, and then those partners, those resellers can have access to lead opportunities, campaigns like that. Okay. So this is pretty much about all the licenses and how you can decide which license to use where. So now, to actually go ahead and build any community, first we should understand how account comes into picture in communities. So every community user must be associated with an account. Okay. So let's say if I'm a community user, then I must have an account associated to myself. And there are basically two types of accounts. One is person account and another one is business account. So person account, as the name says, it belongs to a person, it belongs to an individual. So let's say if there is a bank, there is HDFC Bank, and you have your savings account, so you are a person account for that bank. Okay, so all your details, phone numbers, everything is stored in the, all your contact details are stored in the, in your person account. Now business account is any account which represents a company. Let's say there is Adidas and they have their savings, or I mean some sort of account in HDFC Bank, so that becomes a business account. And then there many people who are many let's say employees who are associated with Adidas account become the contacts. Okay, so in this demo we will not we will be dealing with business accounts because person account is not enabled in developer org. You need to contact Salesforce support to get it enabled. Okay, so for person account you can use community cloud and community cloud plus licenses, and for business account you must use community, I mean any one of those three licenses can be used. So for our use case we will be using community cloud license in our demo. So let's meet Nancy and her challenge. So Nancy just got to know that there has been lockdown and there is a business. She has a potential customer who actually wants to set up their cafe. I mean, help and service center for, I mean, online help service for their coffee brand called City Coffee brand. Okay. So now she goes to her colleague and she tells that this is my problem, what to do. Then her colleague thinks that this is very less time to set up a community, right? But then Nancy goes and meets another friend who actually suggests her how she can set up community in just 30 minutes. And then her problems, her challenge might get resolved. So let's see how we can help Nancy in setting up this community. So for this demo, I have set up Scratch.org. So these are the basic commands that you need to set up your Scratch.org. So let me show it here. So the first command is this one, which will create your Scratch.org. So I have already executed this one and I created my Scratch org. So, and then after that, if you want to open it, you just follow this command, pass your uh, username which you used in the step 1, and then it will open that org for you. For now, I have just created everything. So let's go to my Scratch org. So this is my Scratch org. So to begin setting up communities, first you need to enable community settings. So search for community settings in setup, and then you see here we enable it. We have to provide a domain name here. So I'll put Captcha 2020. Check if it is available. Yes, it is available. Then I'll save it. So my domain name is registered. Now I'll create a new community. So here I'll select customer service. Then I'll give the name here. So while this takes time to create, let's configure other things. So we will configure profile for all our community users. So I'll select customer community profile with customer community. So let's clone this. So I'll name it customers. So this is the profile for my community users. So based on business requirement, you can actually uh, change the access settings, then session login time, what field access you have to give. All these things you can set up here. Now the second thing we need to set up is role. So I'll select here product based sample and set up roles. I'll add a role here. See, our community is still getting created. So let's create the account to which the community users would be associated. Okay, so I'll go here. And name the account as customers. So here you can see currently there is 0 contacts, but as we go through this demo, you will see how the community users get associated with the contacts here. Okay. Our community is still getting ready. Okay, looks like we have to create again. Looks like the previous setup is still getting created. So let's check. Okay, so this is the community that we created. Now see how this looks like, this community URL. So I'll go here. So currently it looks like this whenever somebody tries to access this community URL. Now we will customize and brand according to the business requirement. I mean, according how it should look for a coffee brand. So I'll go to workspaces. I'll go to administration, activate my community. Then I'll select who could be the members. So I'll choose customer, and then this is the customer's profile that I created. So I'll add it here. So any user with this profile can be a member of this community, and I'll save it. Then I'll go to login and registration. Here I'll choose the file because for logo, because I'm going to brand my community. So I have my logo here. Here in footer I'll give my brand name. Let's say this is city. I'll save it. So let's see how this looks here. I'll refresh this. So earlier there was Salesforce here, now it's City Cafe, which is our brand. Okay, now it is still not customized. We will further customize by changing the background and all those stuff. So for that, what we need to do, we need to go to the builder. So this is my community homepage. I'm customizing the login page. So I'll go to login here. So I'll check the theme. I need to change the background. So I'll go and click on images. Here instead of blue, I'll select my brand background. So this is done here. One more. Now let's say if I publish this. Has been published. Now when you go here, you will see the background has not come yet. So why is it so? Because we had not enabled this background for public access. So what you need to do, you need to allow public access to the community. So here I will click on this checkbox and done, and then I'll publish again. So once that is done, you can come back here and see. Okay, so this has been completely branded according to this cafe's brand. So basically earlier it was like this. Now any new customer, if he comes, how would they self-register it? Okay, so for that Salesforce provides self-registration functionality. So if I come here, if I go down, I'll see a register page. So here you can see first name, last name, email. This is for any external user who comes and tries to log in. Now, what if I want to add additional fields here? I mean, let's say I want to know the person's country and the company for which he works. So what I need to do is I'll go to Object Manager. I'll go to users. Here you can see field sets. So field sets what it does, it creates a set of group of fields which you can use for in various places like Visualforce pages, or let's say here we are using in community. So let's say I name it just for registration and save it. So it's done. Now I'll go to my experience builder. I'll click here. So this is the self-registration skeleton. So here I'll check on this box, include password field. So here you can see these two fields came, create password and confirm password. Okay, now I need to add extra fields here. So the field set that I created here, I'll add country and company name and save it. So we are done here. I'll put the field set name here and we are done. So here you can see now company name and country has appeared, and I'll publish this. So this is how you have configured your registration page. However, this will not appear on your community until and unless you enable external registration for the external users. So for that you need to enable allow external users to self-register. And then it asks for registration page. So we just created one in experience filter, so I'll select that. Okay, then it will ask you that the new like the new external user who would register, which profile they should have. So now you need to select customers and then to which account they should be associated. So we created one account called customers. We'll select that and save it. So now when you come here and refresh it, I did not select the page here, so the page is register. And I'll save it and done. Now if you go here, refresh it. So now this not a member link came, and then you can select this and then this form appears here. Okay, so one more thing you need to do if you want to enable external registration and everything about community is you need to assign a role to your user who is actually owner of the account to which the new users would be associated. So I had created that CCEO role, so I'll assign it to myself. Okay, we are done. Now let's see how this self-registration would work. Now let's say if John wants to register, and done. So this new user in no time he actually registered to this community and he logged in. Okay, so this is done here. I'll log out. Now if you go back and check the account which we had created for this, now I'll refresh it. We can see that John Doe is one of the contacts associated with this account. Okay, so I can see John Doe here. Now if you go to users, so you would see a user record. A user has already been created with the license community cloud. Okay, so customer community license. So let's see. I'll go to users, and here you can see John Doe. Okay, so John Doe has been created as a user, as a community user, as well as he has been associated to this customer account and his contact has been created. Okay, so now let's go back to our community. So now let's say you have to enable your Facebook login, okay? Where like to create for allowing John Doe to register to our community, he had to fill so many details, right? But let's say you want to provide a quick way to, so that users can log in using their Instagram, Facebook, and then they don't have to go through so many hassles. Okay, so for that, what would you do? So for that, we need to enable social sign on using authentication. So we will use Facebook as our external identity provider. So what an auth provider does is, let's say if I use Facebook as my external identity provider, so I'll give my credential of my Facebook account and then Facebook as external identity provider, it will check whether these credentials are correct or not, and then it will uh, redirect me to Salesforce. Okay, so how that is done, let's see. So I'll come here, I'll go to login page, and then in components I'll see there is social sign on, so I'll move it here. Okay, we are done. Publish. Now this is for the user experience, but in backend, how would you configure this? Okay, so I'll go to setup and search for auth provider. So under identity, I got this auth provider. So I'll click here. Then I'll create a new one. So let's say if I select Facebook here, okay. This is done. And then we have to create a handler class which will actually take the auth data, and then if it is valid data, it will create the corresponding user and then associate that user to a contact. Okay, for now I'll just click on automatically create registration handler, and Salesforce will automatically create a class for me. Then I need to select any admin user who would be like who would execute this class, okay, in the backend. So I'll select my user here, and then you can select any icon that you want to show. Let's say if I choose this one, this will give me the icon on my community page, and I'll save it here. So we are done. So this is our class which has been created. So I will customize this class a bit. So let's go to GitHub. So GitHub Salesforce identity, it will give you many types of classes which you can use for various authentication providers and then customize things. So I will use this social sign-on registration handler. I'll select opportunity registration handler class. So what it does is it finds out the account to which the customer has to be associated, creates its account, then creates any associated opportunity, and then creates a user. So I'll use this one because we already have an account with name, customers, and then profile and everything. So I'll select this and I'll just copy paste it here. Save it. So we are done. Now I'll go to administration. I'll refresh this page. If I go down, now you can see Facebook option is available. Now I'll click it and I'll just save it. Now I'll go to my experience builder, refresh it. Go to my login page. So this gives me this can't access resources, this warning message, right? Because I use this URL to access the icon URL. So you need to make it trusted URL. So I'll go to CSP trusted sites and add this there. Done. Okay. This is my social sign on. I'll provide a header text and done. I'll publish this. Now let's see if it has come here. So now you can see Facebook here. Now you can see two icons. So I think here I'll add it again. Let's go to our community and see. Okay, I'm not sure why it is coming twice. Okay, there are two social login component. I'll delete one of these. Then again I publish. Now refresh it. Okay, so we are done. So now let's say a user comes and clicks on this icon. So it takes me to this page. Here, let's say if I give my Facebook credential. And login. So we are done. I did not have to fill a self-registration page or anything using my Facebook account. I logged into this community. Now, if you need to verify this, come here and refresh this account. You can see one record would have been created on my name because I used my Facebook credentials to actually register to this community, right? So now here you can see my record. Similarly, a user would also have been created with these email and everything. So this is pretty much about how you can set up communities in no time. I mean, it did not even take half an hour to set up these things. And on this homepage, according to what you need, all those things you can configure in your experience builder. So if I go here, so here you can see, I'll select, let's say, homepage. Now, if you want to add any component, you want to add dashboard reports, anything, or a calendar. So these are the various components you can further add and then enhance your community. Okay, because these things are all. Say, let's say you want to give a quick wait for case creation. So you can just drag this. Okay. Or if you want to add any other thing, you can just come here And let's say you want to add calendar here. So you can just add this calendar here. So there are various components which you can add here depending upon what is your requirement, what the application needs, or what is the requirement of the business. So this is pretty much about how you can set up community in no time and then enable social login and everything. So I hope you would try this out whenever you get time. So that's pretty much about me. If you have any question, you can ask me.